we save the universe?
Absolutely.
On June 15th. No immunity. No alliances.
We can be partners.
You might try to kill me.
I'm not going to kill you.
I said you'd try.
Angelina Jolie is Lara Croft. Tomb Raider.
Don't start.
The biggest adventure of the summer begins June 15th.
Wherever she goes.
Power source identified.
Whatever she does.
Power source identified.
Her adventures are powered by Ericsson.
Power source identified.
Get your Tomb Raider gift pack featuring the Ericsson T20 exclusively through 1-to-1. And see Tomb Raider in theaters this summer.
Lara Croft, Tomb Raider is a 2001 action-adventure film based on the Tomb Raider video game series and starring Angelina Jolie. An international co-production between the United States, the United Kingdom, Japan, and Germany. It was directed by Simon West and revolves around Lara Croft trying to obtain ancient artifacts in competition with the Illuminati.
Six years ago, it was a very, very simple idea that we wanted to base a game around a character, and a character that you can actually see on screen. We thought that the game was the strong point of it, but we began to hear all these people talking about Lara and saying, you know, when's her birthday? And people were actually talking about this character as a real character that actually thought she existed.
She's a great character. And she's a great role model, and she's got an energy and a charisma for life.
We really wanted people to identify with the character, and we had a real sort of dilemma because we knew that this character was going to have weapons, and you get into your mind as sort of a muscle-bound, sort of clumbering, and it wasn't what we wanted. We wanted something that was a character that was very agile and people could relate to, and it became a woman.
She has all the things we love about James Bond. She's got all the cool stuff, and she's got all that sexy intelligence. But she's also Indiana Jones, and she's a real straightforward person.
The timing for us was such a cultural change in society, from men and women, the way that they all think, the way that they even watch movies, listen to music, play video games. A huge swing, which Lara kind of just got swept along on that phenomenon, and actually was picked up and used as an icon for it.
The fact that she's a girl and enjoys it and is curvy, I think that's wonderful. That it's all of that, and the fact that she's also really good at all these things, and not good because she's as good as a guy. Good because even if she was competing with a guy, she might win. But just because she's a better fighter, not because she's a girl.
Hold it right there, I'll shoot you in the back!
You gonna shoot me, Alex?
Laura, give it up. These guys are gonna kill you.
The one thing about Tomb Raider, it's big all around. Lara Croft is big everywhere, and I think that's what's so appealing as a project, a challenge, that you've got to satisfy a lot of people in a lot of places.
I was just as much a snob about film made about video games as anybody. I'd never seen one that had worked. But as they asked me for probably the third and final time, I sat down and thought about it seriously, and I thought, you know what, this actually is a really cool character. This is a female action hero, and we haven't seen one of those for a while. I'll track the camera across.
I do this, this, and then stay there while you have.
Simon he had a very, very ambitious and specific point of view with regard to the intensity of the action and the scale of the movie. That was very impressive.
You needed someone who didn't blanch and quake in having to face a big action sequence, as well as Some very emotional dialogue sequences. Very complicated, and Simon gets it on all levels.
The world that she operates in is sort of the best of everything. You can have action, adventure, but because she goes into these weird underground tombs, you can have surreal sequences as well. So there was no limit to what I could invent. And so that's when I said, you know, I want to do Tomb Raider.
We go, roll video.
Mr. Powell!
Hold your fire!
Well, we can do it my way, or we can all come back in time for the next alignment, and you are welcome to try and kill me then.
Lady Croft, tell me, is there a good thing? Do it again. Stand by, please.
I really only ever had one choice for Lara. I couldn't think of anyone else apart from Angelina Jolie. She peeks around, comes back, this goes off, bang, 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 bang. She had everything. I mean, to me, she was invented for the part.
Sometimes I can read a script, and a lot of times it doesn't turn out to be half as good as we hoped it would be, and this one is 10 times better than I imagined.
Like that, into the background.
And then I met Simon and everybody, and talked about what it was going to be like, and how intense it was going to be, and a really strong movie, and not cartoony, not stupid, and not camp.
We wanted to offer up a new experience, new elements, new locations, a new storyline, as well as with the character Lara to really flesh her out in a real way, almost answer all those questions that the game never had to deal with.
The way to make this work is to take it seriously. I wanted to make a character that people thought was real. She sweats, she bleeds, and she gets emotional. She's not a cartoon character who has the perfect end to every scene.
Do you know what day it is, Hilary?
The 15th.
And that is never a good day. The way he talked about it, and the way I could talk to him about acting and work and characters and just the things that he imagined, I knew he was going to make a great film.
He has an enormously large vision of this movie. There's a size to everything, which is very, very impressive. But at the center of this global adventure, the core of the story is about a daughter's relationship with her father.
I had to look for someone that would measure up to Angelina. So I thought, well, why not her real father, Jon Voight? Again, I wasn't sure whether they actually wanted to work together, so I kind of approached them separately, and they loved the idea. And that just works so well because they're having these emotional scenes between a father and a daughter, and they really are a father and a daughter, so they're completely real.
I've missed you.
And I've missed you.
It's a very special thing because our relationship is very, very similar to these two people. They have similar loves. They have similar sense of adventure and want to set things right. Curious about life, curious about the past.
I took it without having read the script. I said, I'll do this. We're going to do this together. And then I read it, and I was delighted and surprised at the story. I said, this is a great story.
She's full of fun and fire and is certainly enjoying everything about this adventure.
It goes into mysticism, foreign locations, intrigue, drama. There's no end to it.
Time to save the universe?
Absolutely.
This film has a high-tech scientific element. It has arch villains and comedy relief sidekicks.
Don't start.
It's an action film and an adventure. Each sequence is like, whoa.
It's kind of got everything in it. There's mystery there, there's betrayal there. They sweep us into these extraordinary sets and take us to these exotic locations.
It's James Bond, Indiana Jones, rolled into a young, attractive, modern girl.
I couldn't figure out how I was going to act this character. And Simon, he said, no, you have to become this person. And so I worked really hard to be able to jump in her world and her skin a bit.
We wanted to give her the opportunity to get in absolutely the best physical shape, mental shape, and to look as much of an expert as she could in all the areas that she's going to have to pursue.
I'm trying to learn how to fight, not just pretend in front of the camera. I'm doing a bit of everything. I'm taking yoga and strength training, weapons training. But it was great because after 3 months, I'd lost any kind of touch with my normal self. Lara is very, very much a girl. I wanted her to have her curves, and yet there's something tribal about her. We worked on things with the hair, and I wanted her to have a mohawk. And she kind of does. There's a braid that goes like this. Also, I wanted the clothes to be monochromatic, mainly just to keep it about the shape.
Somehow there's something about how Angelina is herself and how her clothes are that have kept her slightly separate all the time from her environment. And you could show Angelina 5 pieces of fabric that are grey, and she knows which one exactly will suit her. Lots of pajamas, about 60 pairs.
So I'm just going to come tighter on this camera, okay? There we go, but it looks great.
Then the whole debate started about what colour they are, what kind of pajamas, you know, what are they made of. Simon kept saying, I want them to flutter, they have to flutter.
There was something very technical about the clothes with her. It took us weeks to figure out the belt harness and how the gun harness and the straps around my legs would stay on and stay up. It was kind of really complicated.
Angelina had really, really strong ideas about what she didn't want to be like. She didn't want to look like a biker girl, you know, with torn off clothes and really worn out stuff.
So the clothes, we wanted everything to be flattering and fitting like, you know, she wears. And the shorts, it took me until I think 2 weeks before filming to agree to get into a pair of shorts. Just to get me to walk around in these clothes, I felt like I was naked for the first few days.
Lara Croft, she's so sexy. She knows exactly what she wants, and she knows she's capable of doing lots of things and having fun with it.
Do you want me to shout 1, 2, and then they go under, or can you just take it yourself?
Right, so I'll take that moment, I'll readjust. Okay. We talked about it in the beginning of this film, that the big thing for me would be to learn what I could from this person and kind of become her as much as possible. And so I wanted to be able to do as much as I could. Go ahead, throw it at me. I can do this.
Angie had to go in training for this for quite a number of weeks, and I assumed that I'd be shooting most of it with a double and we'd just be shooting close-ups with Angie. And then I went to see how she was getting on, and she could do it all. And I thought, this is fantastic.
It was all her. We did not use a double at all. You know, she does double, triple somersaults, coming right to the floor and then taking her right back up again. And that is something for a leading lady, your star, to do that was absolutely incredible.
These movies are really often quest movies. It's all about finding something and going to strange places to do it. I wanted to go to real locations that were exotic and unusual to the audience, and it was hard to think of places that hadn't been seen a lot on film.
Cambodia is one of the most beautiful places in the world. Angkor Wat is what, the largest spiritual building in the world. And it was stunning.
It's amazing. It's so beautiful. The lilies and the reflections, everything. Unbelievable. Originally, I wrote the idea to be the Great Wall in China, but it was not possible to organise getting to China in time. The alternative was to build the Great Wall in Scotland. And the prospect of shooting in Scotland in the winter didn't appeal to me that much. And also, when I thought about it, I realised that the Great Wall would only give me sort of one big element, and I needed so much more. So I looked around the world for other great settings, and I happened to come across Cambodia. All the time you're walking, you're trying to see her.
Okay. You walk amongst those temples, and the scale is so enormous, and the detail is so rich that it's beyond comprehension. You can only just marvel.
No films have been shot there since the early 60s, so there's a whole generation out there that have never seen a film set in that environment. And also this great undiscovered temples there in the jungle that have been abandoned for 400 years, and so they have trees growing up through the roofs of them, and you just can't build that kind of scale and reality and have the real insects, the actors really sweating because it's so hot. It looks totally real because you're there.
And action! You must get the clock back, Lara, and destroy it.
Things happened that you couldn't really plan.
256, okay, take one!
And we had 100 Buddhist monks in orange robes suddenly walk past you, and so you turn all the cameras around, and so, you know, we have to have that in the film because how often do you get 100 Buddhist monks walking past this temple?
She comes here to center herself, to find help, and they heal her. I think the lesson learned here is to listen to people, to be open to things, to look around you. She's led by the magic of the place.
The Cambodian sequence is a very mystical part of the film. It's where a lot of things come together in terms of the story and in terms of Lara's understanding of her past and herself.
You know, it's kind of, in a way, is the spiritual heart to the film, and I think it touched us all in quite a profound way.
It's actually magic here. I just stepped out of the middle of chanting, and I don't think I've ever been so calm in my entire life.
I think that's my favourite costume, and it's almost the only bit of colour in the whole film. And it is, in fact, oddly, a colour that she loves. And they give her some pieces of fabric which are in the monastery, and it's inappropriate for a woman to wear the orange, which the monks wear. So we had to kind of try and make her look like she'd been given something by them, but without wearing the colour that they wear. Simon put her so that the sun shone from behind her, and I just thought she looked luminous.
And we cut.
And boy, chop!
It did take a huge amount of organisation. We had to send people over here months in advance to arrange everything.
We've recruited pretty much all the staff you see here because as the locations team we've been here the longest.
They were all very good. Timing was perfect. Well done.
Everybody has been well impressed by the locals. And same with the extras. They've been phenomenal, you know. They've never done this before. This is the first time.
Come on, guys!
They've never had to pull down the East Gate at Angkor Thom. It's not a normal thing. It's not a day job for these guys. They're rice farmers.
Come on, Paul! Paul, it's coming!
The extras are terrific. Some of the best extras I've worked with in the world. You know, they're natural actors. It's been, one of the most pleasurable experiences for me shooting anywhere in the world.
Through this film and just being in this environment, I've learned a lot about the world. It seems so small, and this girl packs up, and her life is about exploring the world, understanding what it's about, and so I got to do that, and it changed my life.
To me, these sort of archaeological action-adventure films are all about sand, and so I made this edict that there would be no sand in this film whatsoever. So I thought, well, where isn't like that? Well, snow isn't like that, so I wanted somewhere to represent Siberia, so we ended up going to Iceland. It gives me a lot of variation on locations. There's lakes with icebergs, different sorts of mountains, rolling hills, so I can get a lot of different environments. Are you all right, Angie? You're getting cold?
This movie, it deals with a lot of the elements, so we've got the, the ice and sledding and, rocks of ice.
Iceland, an extraordinary and awe-inspiring place to go to. Endless miles of whiteness. There was in fact solid ice, not even snow. So an unbelievable place to go and a great opportunity to see that.
There was an idea that we'd sort of charge across the glacier on sort of four-wheel drive Land Rovers, and then suddenly Simon got to Iceland and they had these ducks, these amphibious vehicles. And he just went, we want those. So in the end we sort of went travelling along on these amphibious craft.
Taking a unit of air size onto the glacier was quite a thing to organise, really. And the trek up to the glacier was a very narrow road, quite steep and some sharp turns, so it amazed a lot of people that we actually got them up there.
It's such an alien environment. We were working on top of this massive glacier the size of Wales.
Go up the hill 10 feet and then walk down.
And you really felt you were at the butt end of the world, but it is a stunning landscape.
Got it.
Okay, good. Got there.
Okay, head down, Stevie.
This area has its own weather system, and it's completely unpredictable. So you're dealing with wind and cold and rain and sleet and snow, which makes shooting here inhospitable.
It's not a country, it's an ice cube.
You're left with no doubt as to, that nature is the kind of the boss there. It lends an element that you could never actually do with CGI or special effects.
You can almost sense the Norse gods. There is a real primal feeling to it, which we could never duplicate on the stage.
Iceland was freezing, and dog sledding in Iceland was just wild. It was hard not to feel like Lara Croft when I had guns strapped to me. I'm dog sledding, I'm on a glacier, and every once in a while the dogs would be a little uncomfortable in an area because you realize there was a crack that went down a mile and they just didn't want to go over it.
We're going to come downhill now, from up there. It's extremely dangerous because there's huge crevasses everywhere.
They say if you fall down one, you're never going to come out because they're V-shaped and some of them are very deep.
Guys, stop! Stop!
We have to take a lot of precautions. We have safety guys that lead us through the path, so we can't just run around like we normally do. But it looks very dramatic, and that's why you come here. We come here to get the real thing.
Here we go! Jump over!
Wow. When I started this film, I knew I wanted to have incredible sets, and I went to Kirk Petruccelli, and he just came out with these brilliant designs and built these things on such enormous scale that it blew me away as much as anybody. I mean, you always ask for the moon, but, in this case, I actually got it.
I really didn't realize the scope of it until I came here. These sets are insane.
One of the themes of the game is the collision between very modern and very ancient worlds. And we wanted to really embrace that in the production as well.
The overall look of the film will be kind of the colliding of super modern with super ancient. We've taken ancient structural elements, the Angkor tombs, and assigned modern geometries to the tomb itself.
We actually did build the tombs full scale on stages because in a way it would make the action more real, so we ended up with these incredible environments.
It's mind-blowing. I mean, completely mind-blowing. These guys created these just utter worlds, We've
taken what's called an orrery, a complicated system of the planets in alignment moving, and turned it into an ancient, super-sized mechanical key to a puzzle. With the time-lapse camera, you're going to see structural elements come together. First you'll see large shapes, then you'll see finishes going on, then come the mechanics, the super mechanics of the orrery itself.
The technical side of it was quite difficult. You've got 9 planets in the sun. How do we make the 9 planets miss each other?
The orrery set was actually very difficult because it's a very mechanical set and there's a lot of elements in there that are actually not only difficult but dangerous. It was all made out of steel and all the arms are swinging around, and if you're standing in the wrong place you will get cut in two.
It's very dangerous. You're quite high up and revolving around, and there's nothing beneath you. But Angelina, she seems to have no fear.
Cut it, cut it. Okay, great.
Visually, we're going for a giant wave coming down the slope and out the archway over there. We've got 2 huge tip tanks up there. There's 70 tonne of water coming down in one go. We're going to get this wave coming out, which Lara Croft's going to run underneath.
Oh, yes.
Do you have enough cameras?
I think at one point I had 14 cameras on the big set piece just because these events are unrepeatable. It only happens once. But that's what's fun about these movies. It's almost like being in the action film yourself.
we go. Roll video.
320 Charlie, take 1A camera.
I'm running through this orrery with water just crashing down, a tidal wave coming. There's planets exploding, debris falling. I'm not even acting, it's just like go from here to here and don't get hit by anything.
You go all over the world, you go into these fantastic sets, you have these great action sequences, but at the center of it, you love this person. I mean, you just want to be with Lara Croft the whole time.
I'm very excited with those movies that I saw when I was young, growing up. This is so full of extraordinary stuff.
I've just been blown away by this film. I don't feel like I shot a film. I feel like I've been on an adventure and I just survived it. When I first got here, I felt like this little geek, this little like scrawny, young actress from LA.
One more time, let's go forward.
And then through all the training, my body had changed and my mind had changed because I had a totally different focus.
I knew that I was going to have to put Angie through some pretty rigorous training. I got her over to London and basically put her into boot camp because there were so many different disciplines that she was going to have to learn.
And I felt like I was being formed into a special agent.
We wanted to give her the opportunity to look as much of an expert as she could in all the areas that she's going to have to pursue.
Angie worked 6 days a week, doing 6 or 7 disciplines per day to get in shape for the film. Special weight training, she had to go on special diets.
They've got me on a program, vitamins and teas and protein shakes and trying to have that high protein, low carb thing. I'm like this weird experiment. I think they're all seeing what they can do to me.
Basically, Angelina started 3 months prior to shooting. What we had to do at first was build her physical strength up and body tone.
I was extremely out of shape. I hadn't gone to a gym in years.
Nice and relaxed.
I've actually changed since I got here. Much more flexible than I was. I gained some weight and put on some muscle. It's been great. They're really taking care of me.
As well as doing physical training scheme, she was then doing a fight training.
Eunice was teaching me kickboxing and really teaching me to fight.
Good. Just keep that tight. The kick's nice and get your hips in flat. Just good.
I'm trying to learn how to fight properly and learn how to really fight. And Eunice is a real fighter, so she's not just teaching me how to pretend in front of the camera. We're going through it and really trying to learn all the techniques and really know how to do it.
Get this nice motion there. It's going to be jab, you're going to go jab and then just kick.
The sort of fighting style we've gone for is more of a street fighter. She's not a karate expert or anything like that, but you're using a combination of things, like a full contact type karate.
Good. What's that?
I feel like I'm doing a bit of everything. I mean, we wanted to make it a real fight. I'm also learning just some good old street fighting and some knees and elbows and headbutts and, a square punch in the face.
When she punches someone, they don't come back.
I never took yoga before. I thought I'd hate it, but I really like it.
Yoga is just relaxation, and also it's muscle tone as well. It's very good for mind and body.
I wanted her to really be as whole a human being as possible, and I think we wanted her to have that fire and that fight, but also have that really strong center and be really relaxed.
Angelina would start with yoga at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then she'd come to do weapons training.
We had military weapons training, getting on your knee and knowing how to position yourself.
Good. One target only.
And they'd set up things all around the place. Things would flip around, I'd have to duck and dive and roll, and I was losing my mind.
Advance. Up!
She's a perfectionist, so she wanted to look as good as she could possibly look. It's nothing worse than to see an actor that insists he knows how to use a weapon. Everybody watches it and knows anything about weaponry goes, oh my God, look at it, he held the gun backwards.
Whichever target you come across first, treat that as a maximum threat.
Within the weapons training, she was taught by an SAS instructor. SAS is the English Special Forces.
Take out him, go for him, stoppage, draw your pistol.
He first just taught her basically how to fire a gun.
Short bursts. Up!
We had to bear in mind that Angelina was left-handed. We had to have a specially made gun that would fire and she could reload properly with her left hand.
Turn to your left. Up!
I had to learn some things that she does that now I can do them. Probably unless you practice it, nobody can do those. They're her things.
I walk in, and here I see my daughter standing on a column that's been broken down. Take her guns out and flip them in the air and throws them into the holster. Whoa! Doesn't anybody realize how unbelievable is it?
To sort of understand her dedication and her ability would be to sort of compare it to an actor training to be an Olympic athlete and then being able to perform at the level of an Olympic athlete.
I wanted to be able to do as much as I could, and so I've worked really hard to be able to jump in her world and her skin a bit.
She's just done so much. She did fight training, she did motorbike riding, she's done husky dog racing, she's done gymnastic training.
The other day I was trying to think about what haven't we done to her? You know, and I think the only thing we haven't done is lit her on fire.
Angelina should be the role model for action actors in that we turned her into something that you really wouldn't want to meet in a dark alley. But then maybe again you would.
They built the clock physically. There was a three-dimensional clock that was used in the shooting of the film. But what they hadn't created was the insides, the inner workings of the clock, and how would that be. So we worked on the idea of making these sort of magical cogs and springs and how it would actually look sort of suspended in time.
For this particular shot, the clock had to explode and all the internal components had to animate in suspended animation. The recognisable parts had to be there, and then we had to fill it out with lots of small, detailed parts. First we went up to the set and took pictures of the large-scale clock. Then we brought these pictures into the computer and used that to draw around and get the correct proportions. This is the CG objects which are rendered. The background, Lara Croft, and we have the crystal, which is an important part of the story here. And she puts her hand up and picks it up. And we also create some interaction with the objects as she puts her hand into the space.
And it's been quite exciting, so it looks pretty cool.
The picture basically opens with Lara going through a training session with this droid. We went through a great deal of pre-vis animation trying to give it character. And because the thing's multi-armed, it's got basically 6 appendages. It went through a spider version, a gymnast version. We inserted some of that into the action. In fact, he does a really cool backflip in the movie where she's run past him. He then leaps up onto a pillar and does a backflip ending up on top of her. He basically exists in 2 versions. One is a fully synthetic CG character, but he also exists in the real world as a posable prop. That was used primarily for shots where it was immobile and it gave her something to react to.
We built a full-size droid. The way the progression went was they pretty much designed it on computer. You know, the pre-visualization guys got together with the director and with the production designer Kurt, came up with what they wanted it to look like, and then gave us sort of conceptual drawings of it, and then we made a full-size one of it.
But any time it moves and jumps around, it's the CG version.
Stop!
A shot like this, about 80 frames long, about 3 days. But it all depends really how much the robot's moving in shot. Okay, first of all we get the clean plate, the director shoots, and a as-is beauty pass. We're able to key that straight on, and then we're able to grade it and depth it with various mats that 3D give us, along with lots of other layers that they supply. Separation passes for each limb, and various other bits and bobs are able to grade and treat each individual limb. And then various stages of putting it together to grade it to fit the background. It's a mat for his volumetrics and a mat for his separation shadows. Various highlight passes which are able to key directly over the top again, so that all the lights on the robot itself sit into the shot. Finally, a live action element which we can put over the top so that when it cuts with the live action robot in the next shot, it all sits in, so the final shot looks like that.
We went to a great deal of effort to make sure that the 2 tied up together. It was also particularly tricky in that the environment was very smoky and what have you, and we had to make sure that he sat in appropriately. You know, he didn't look like he was added onto the shots. I think we sort of broke new ground with that robot. I mean, there's been a lot of really impressive robots recently, CG robots in recent movies, but I think this one just was that little bit better. And I think we achieved a level of reality and scariness with this character that I hadn't seen in other films before.
She's got style.
Don't start.
With attitude. We can be partners.
You might try to kill me.
I'm not going to kill you.
I said you'd try. This is where I start to have fun.
Meet the new face of adventure.
Time to save the universe? Absolutely.
Angelina Jolie, Tomb Raider, on in-demand pay-per-view. You've got the power. Order in the thrills on in-demand.
The Various Artists soundtrack was released on June 15th, 2001. The score by Graham Revell was later released on June 25th, 2001. U2's Elevation was released as a single, with the band's music video having them inserted into clips from the film. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider had its Los Angeles premiere on June 11th, 2001.
Hi
Hi, this is Ellen Kim with Hollywood.com at the Man Village Westwood in Los Angeles. We're here for the premiere of Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and with the maddening crowd today, we can tell that Hollywood has a new action heroine, and her name is Angelina Jolie.
Tomb Raider, it's like big summertime movie, action flick. When I found out Angelina Jolie was the lead, I was like, that's it. Sounds great. No, first time today.
All right. Nellie, if you were going to do a duet with somebody, who would that be?
Ooh, I'm doing something with Paul Oakenfold this week. I'm going to be doing something with Finley Quaye. That's a dream come true. Noel Gallagher. I don't know. This Missy thing was a dream come true for me.
That's true.
Yeah, more hip hop, I think. Different producers, yeah.
What are you most excited about Tomb Raider?
Seeing a woman put in the place of an action hero. Men don't know how precious women are, how powerful they are, and it's about time we started seeing it.
Yeah.
And Angelina's perfect candidate for that.
Are you surprised we haven't had more of this before?
Yeah. Eyes have to be open, ears have to be open, hearts have to be open to see what we're dealing with and what an incredible horizon we have for this.
Now tell me about your contribution to this movie soundtrack.
The song I did for this film is called The Revolution Will Be Televised, and it's a song that I wrote for my 4th album that I've been working on and off in between movies that I've been scoring, and it just seemed really appropriate for this film. So it was cool. I watched the scenes from the movie and put it to picture. It was a lot of fun.
Have you seen the whole thing?
I haven't. I've seen 2 scenes, and the scenes are so kick-ass. It's not even funny. So good. Incredible wire tricks in this movie. Unbelievable stuff.
I know that you turned the movie down a couple of times to do it. Are you now glad that now that it's over and you've got this, that you did actually say yes to it?
I am very glad. A lot of days I didn't think like that when I was making it, but every day was another challenge, and it got sort of more exciting as it went on. And so it's very rewarding. We all worked really hard on the film, especially Angelina. And to have this kind of response is like great payback, because it all feels worthwhile now, and we didn't do it for nothing.
Now I know she got a lot of injuries, but she didn't tell you about them. Do you now feel bad that...
I do feel bad now. At the time I was just being a ruthless film director and trying to make the best action scenes in the best film, but she kept it very quiet and didn't tell me about all the injuries. Now she tells me all the time about the permanent scars she's got and needles me about it, but I think she likes them.
You send a lot of people to try, stop Lara Croft.
Yeah.
Did you like kind of bossing them around? And you didn't have to really go in and battle her too much, except maybe at the end.
Exactly. Well, that's the way he likes. He doesn't want to get his suit dirty with blood. You know what I mean? Get other people to do all the mucky, dirty work. No, it's nice when you've got a mini army. What's the point in hurting your fists?
Do you think something could have happened between them if they weren't,
I like to think it could have. Yeah, I like to think it could have. Just because I think there's a sort of mutual respect that's born out of recognizing a worthy adversary, and I think that causes the attraction. I think she looks at Manfred Powell and thinks, well, this is an opponent worth taking on.
This is a formidable role you're taking on, going up against, rivaling with Lara Croft here.
Yeah, well, guess who wins? Not that hard to guess, no.
Did you have to go through the same kind of training?
I didn't get involved quite as much as Angelina did. She went and did some serious training. I just tried to catch up, keep up.
What was the biggest challenges in this movie?
I don't know there were any really. We just to get it right. I mean, there's long hours, all the things that you do when you're working hard on a film. But the physicality, I just get a big kick out. Doing the stunt stuff is really we had a great stunt crew with us, so we had a ball doing that.
Did you suffer any major battle wounds?
Have I got any major battle wounds? Not from this film. No, we got battered and bruised a bit. Angie got really battered and bruised, but she stormed on.
What do you think about this whole show here already?
What did? Oh, just nuts. Absolutely nuts. Really. I'm slightly blown away.
Does people recognize you here in Hollywood?
I don't think so, not really, no.
They will after.
Do you think so? All right, fine. Oh, good. I look forward to that.
Afterwards, they throw panties after you.
Oh, really? Okay, I can't wait. What was that, please? Oh, no.
The support. Some amazing people supporting
I've always been very caged, and I have never really done something completely free and let out of, which kind of encourages a certain kind of freedom in others and insanity. Countries we haven't explored, and about 10 new stunts to learn, and you know, it'd be a lot of fun. New guns, I think.
Angelina, fabulous. Tell us about your film.
Keep going, right here.
What aspect of your character do you identify the most?
She's she loves traveling. She loves other countries. She loves to explore. She's very curious. And she's a little fearless and a little nuts.
So there's a lot of you in her. Yeah. The other question is, what's interesting, her character already existed in a video game. How difficult is it for an actress to make that transition from a character, a video game, to the big screen?
Only in the way that you want to make sure that you don't take away from the things that are already established that people love about her. You know, so we tried to make sure we understood exactly what it was that were trademarks of her, that were things people love, make sure that I had all those things. They knew where she went to school, they knew what she should sound like, they knew what her body should look like. They had very specific ideas about that. And then to give her all the things that they didn't know about her heart, her soul, and her sense of humor. And so it was fun, it was a good challenge.
I have to ask you a stupid question. What is this?
Oh, doesn't everybody know that already? It's a tattoo.
Tell us about...
That is a great part of it, and then the other part of it that's just her, and it's just haunting.
What made you decide to want to do most of your own stunts? I mean, you did almost all of them your own. What made you decide to want to do that in this film?
Oh, I just wouldn't have it any other way. It's no fun if somebody else does them. You know, honestly, if you're going to strap those boots on and those guns, you better back them with an ability to be able to do some things.
Now, I saw that your dad, he was really impressed with you, like, twirling the guns, and he was just really impressed with everything that you were doing. How does that make you feel, that you could just pull all this off and everyone's looking so forward to it?
Oh, it makes me feel great. It makes me feel like I've survived my life and I'm going to be okay. You know, you jump out and you try things in life, and when they're accepted, okay, and especially when you do things that are really bold that everybody tells you not to do. When you first wanted to do this, everybody told me it was a bad idea, and I wanted to do it.
Good.
You know. So,
good. Listen to your...
Raid the Pepsi. Look under specially marked labels. You could win a PlayStation 2 or other great prizes. See Tomb Raider in theaters. Play the game. Get wild.
How did you prepare for it?
We had 2.5 months of training in London. I was just married, a week, and it's very upsetting, very hard for me to leave. And I went to London, and for 2.5 months was doing every different strength training and yoga and all that, with all these skills, practicing the bungee, practicing canoeing, practicing kickboxing and weapons training, and you know, it was kind of hard at first, was very, very difficult, and very kind of thought I wasn't going to be able to do it, and you know, towards the end got stronger and better, and really, really enjoyed it, and kind of miss it. I miss my holsters, to be honest. I have them at home, but you know, I don't really put them on. I was very involved in it with Lindy Hemmings, who's a great designer, and we liked it. We worked on it together, and we wanted her to have certain pieces that were we wanted her to be real, not cartoony, not colorful. We wanted her boots to be real, and I wanted her to be more about shape than colors. So she's very solid and monochromatic, and blends into Iceland and blends into, so we had fun with it. We knew we had to have the shorts at some point, which was very, very difficult, and it was big discussions to the last minute about me. I think that was the first thing I said to Simon probably, was that I would do the movie, but would not get in the shorts. And so it did take a while, and then we thought, for the people that know her, you have to get in the shorts. So we did it for that time in the movie, and it was very, very uncomfortable. But you know, you feel like her, and it's fun, and it's, you know, I haven't seen it on the big screen. I'll probably be the first one to think, God, what am I doing? What is it? I think women admire her because she's a real woman. I mean, she's obviously got so many things about her you can make fun of or do things. You know, but she's very emotional. She's curvaceous, and she's feminine, and she doesn't compete with other women. She's not that kind of woman. She's not the kind of woman other women compete with or don't like, even though you'd think she would be, because that's how maybe there's been a perception of her. But she's really not. She's not, and she's not hateful of men. She's not trying to be a man. She's not trying to compete with men. She's not in there because she wants to prove a point. She's just, she's kind of everybody. So I think, and I hope that the people, men and women, will like her, but I think it's also interesting because people don't actually know who she dates. Which I'll just throw that out there and scare everybody, but I mean, nobody's seen her with a man or a woman, and that'll be a whole other issue, I'm sure. Very, because you want to do it right so bad. You want people, I'm nervous now because it's coming out in 2 weeks, and I so want the people that have supported the film and want to see the film, I just want them to have the film that they want. I want it to be right, and I want to be, I want to live up to everything they you know, see her as, and it's a big thing to live up to. So I really tried and gave it everything I got, and had a really great time doing it. But you know, at the end of the day, they'll tell me whether they like it or not, and I hope they do. It was wonderful. It was very special and very easy because the scene's very personal, and I just really was talking to him, and it was there were beautiful things to say to each other. I think that we wanted to say, that have said in other ways in our life, but it was great to have a moment to say it, and it'll be fun to see. It'll be, I'm sure, amazing to see together on screen. It's just you know, for us, it's fun.
Have you ever heard Clock of Ages?
It gives its possessor power of the light.
Time to save the universe again, then, is it?
Absolutely.
She's Lady Lara Croft. She's English. She's been very educated. She's been raised into wealth, so she's had a lot of ability to travel and learn a lot of things in her life. At the end of the day, she's a little crazy and very much a woman.
This is where I start to have fun.
It became obvious to me very quickly when I was casting that you need someone that can step into the shoes, as it were, of Lara Croft, who's stunningly beautiful, sexy, but I wanted someone who could act, because we all want to go to a movie where we see great acting and we can engage in the character, and she seems dangerous and risky to me and edgy, and I wanted Lara Croft to be like that. So I think it's very obvious why Angie is born to be Lara Croft. I really just sat down and thought, well, okay, she's 25 years old, she's a rich heiress, she lives in England in this big mansion. Now what would she have in the house? 25 with limitless resources, you'd instantly start modifying it, and you put your techie rooms in the middle of all this old stuff.
We tried to figure out what she cared about, what she laughed at, what she loved, her relationship with her friends and with her family. Makes her emotional, makes her punchy and funny with her relationship with Bryce.
Don't start.
Bryce is Lara Croft's eyes and ears in the field, and have almost like a brother-sister sort of relationship. He's constantly let down by human beings, and he doesn't really like them because he can't manipulate them and control them in the way he can robot or whatever. And I think he loves Lara because she's probably the closest thing to sort of affection in a human he's come across. But I wanted to make him someone who would be the sort of person who would be an obsessive Raider game player.
even though it's based on a video game, I wanted to go back to basics on the genre, keep it sort of mystical and magical, and make the tone more serious. And there is humour, but it's a sort of a drier, wryer type of humour.
There's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of people that really like her, and you don't want to disappoint them, and she really belongs to them. And so I've worked really hard to be able to jump in her world and her skin a bit. I'm trying to learn how to write. I wanted to make sure that everybody had what they want in the movie, so I'm really hoping they like it, because it truly is their movie.
The game was popular with men and women, and you could understand that men would be interested in that because she seems to be a male fantasy of what a woman should be, but she's also very strong and clever, and women seem to project themselves onto that.
To continue to do it, I think it was just the endurance of the film. It was a long shoot, and on the halfway through it was hard to keep going. But a lot of the stunts, everything that was very, very difficult was also very fun.
Sitting down with Angelina, I'd already thought up a sort of emotional core to the thing, that it was about the loss of her father. She deeply missed her father, who disappeared on an expedition when she was very young, and that is the quest in the film, is to find out what happened to him. I had to look for someone that would measure up to someone as big a character as Angelina, but also as Lara Croft, and so I thought, well, why not her real father, Jon Voight?
The scene was very appropriate to how we felt about each other, and the things we said to each other we meant. And so that's an amazing thing, and when you can have a moment like that, moment in time, frozen forever, with a parent that you love saying the things you mean, there really couldn't be anything more special.
Having these emotional scenes between a father and a daughter, and they really are a father and a daughter, so they're completely real. And you don't often get that kind of level of acting and involvement in an action-adventure film, but it sort of takes it to a whole other level, and I think that people will appreciate being drawn in emotionally as well as just having a great ride. Action. Beautiful. Very nice.
I love this character, and I wanted to go on this adventure, and I wanted to live this life for a while. I wanted to train for months and be really healthy and learn skills and get stronger, and I wanted to go to these countries that I'd only heard about and understand their history, and I wanted to run around and be really free. Even to the first day I was there, and it was like the day, with the guns on and the holsters, and I was so nervous and not sure about it, and yet it's one of those things you just have to jump into and cross your fingers and hope that you're doing it right for all the people that already like her, and you're not disappointing them, and that you can pull off physically all the stuff.
I suppose it's a ride. It's sort of an old-fashioned adventure movie. It's like classically, sort of King Kong, sort of, I don't know, all this sort of adventure movies. It just goes so many different places and has so many different locations that you're constantly going, oh, where are we now? Or what's happening now? And I think that's the best way I can describe it. It's a blast.
Training was 2.5 months before filming, and then all through filming. I had kickboxing training, all different weapons training, different combat courses and training, and every different kind of gun, every different kind of thing to do with a gun, from taking it apart and learning about them to playing with them and practicing the holsters, canoeing and dog sledding, and just everything. It was a great thing to do. It was a lot of fun. There were some days where I was so bruised.
I just tried to get in shape. And so that when we had to do the physical stuff, I wasn't, on my knees at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I wanted to so I could keep up. I mean, it was hard work, but the physical stuff I find much easier to do. I mean, you don't have to do a great deal of thinking. You just have to know where to jump and at what point to jump, and it's fun. I mean, it's playtime. Especially on a set like that, it's like it really is sort of, you feel like you're on an adventure playground.
Yeah, you have a certain responsibility. The thought of being a role model is a great thing. It's such a beautiful thing to be, and I think because of her curiosity about other countries and because of her being so physically strong, and that she's a good person, she's friendly, she's a good friend, she loves her parents, she's very honorable. She's not a liar. She's very sexual, and she's obviously very physical and physically sexy because she has a certain kind of body and wears certain clothes, and that's because of the game. And so we did that, and we didn't want to take that away. But yeah, there'll always be people that feel she's not a good role model because she has weapons, or she's not a good role model for a lot of different reasons, and they're certainly welcome to those opinions, and I probably agree with them in some level. But she had them in the game. It is a movie, and if you're gonna have weapons or learn about that or fight in this world, you should know what you're doing, and you should know who the enemy is, and stand up for yourself. I think that's a good thing.
Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What do you think walking down a corridor in the Dorchester Hotel in London? Do you like London?
I love London, yeah. I can't stay here, though, because my husband has a problem with antiques, so we're not staying in this one.
Why does he have a problem with antiques?
It's a long, very complicated story.
She has a lot of stories. A lot of them a little weird, but she's fun. And as they say in Hollywood, she's hot.
Don't start.
Her latest movie is Tomb Raider. It's a quiet little film where not much really happens.
This is where I start to have fun.
Apart from her character racing across several continents to unlock the ancient secrets of time before an evil cartel destroys the world.
Time to save the universe again, then, is it?
Absolutely. She's a little nuts, so I think we have that in common.
You a little nuts?
I think a little, but, you know.
A lot of people might say a lot, though.
A lot of people might say a lot, yeah.
In 21st century style, Angelina's character, Lara Croft, is based on a best-selling computer game. She's a pin-up cyber chick. If ever an actor was born to play an animation, it's Angelina.
When you saw Lara on the laptop, did you do a double take and think, hey, that looks a bit like me? In fact, it's uncanny the resemblance.
No, God, no. Because who would wear those shorts and walk around in that outfit, and her breasts and her, it's just, I think like most women, we see that figure and we think, oh great, that's what, that's the ideal. That's wonderful.
Is she the ideal for you?
No, she's not my type of woman.
So we'll try it with all the camera moves, because we've got cameras and lights happening at the same time.
In her relatively brief career, 26-year-old Angelina has won critical acclaim, 2 Golden Globes and an Oscar for the film Girl Interrupted.
Hey, Margie. Hey, Lisa. What you doing? Sex? Look at this. Go ahead. Go ahead. That's enough. Take one step and I'll jam this in my aorta. Go ahead. Go ahead. Stop it, Lisa.
Your aorta is in your chest.
Good to know.
That Angelina can act so well should come as no surprise. It runs in the family. Her father, John Voight, also an Oscar winner, is the original Midnight Cowboy.
Everybody's talking at me.
The pair play father and daughter in Tomb Raider. So enamoured is he of Angelina and her achievements, John joined our interview to talk about their working together. A moment that left at least one of us a little tongue-tied.
John, do you think Angelina is a breath of threat? John, do you think...
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought she was from the beginning.
What did you think I was going to ask you? Do you think Angelina's a breath of fresh air for Hollywood? She's there, warts and all, 100%, this is me.
Are you saying how honest I am and outspoken?
Should I answer this?
Yeah.
I think Angie is a very vibrant and very strong personality.
Got the X factor.
She's got that thing. So you gotta give her the best encouragement, advice, protection, everything.
Angelina's actor parents divorced when she was a baby, and while there was contact with her father, Angelina was a troubled child who wanted to see more of him. Acting in the film was a way of catching up on lost time.
The world became just us, It was, we weren't thinking about the world so much. It was a great joy.
You're very emotional, John.
Yep.
Why does it do that to you so much?
We had such a...
I'm okay, I could get through it.
I'm so happy that I'm not crying. I'm just, you get so happy when you know your parent loves you so much. Now I'm going to cry.
But you were going to tell me why. You said we've had, and then...
No, it really was like that for us during this time because we got a chance to really spend time together, and we took very full advantage of it.
The London premiere of Tomb Raider was very much a family affair. Despite her parents' divorce, or possibly as a result of it, this is an amazingly close family.
I'm in shock. And I'm so in love with my brother right now.
Accepting her Oscar last year, Angelina paid homage, not to the Academy, but to her brother, James.
Jamie, I have nothing without you. You are the strongest, most amazing man I've ever known. And I love you.
Offstage, James and Angelina kissed passionately, and immediately their relationship became the stuff of lurid tabloid gossip.
Did you feel pressure with your brother James when you kissed him, you expressed your love for him, and it created a headline?
It did.
Were you naive there and think that, hey, this might create a headline?
I'm more shocked. I think the people that thought that way should be more embarrassed and uncomfortable. I didn't think that way. Maybe we kissed too long. I don't know. I know that there is nothing strange between me and my brother. And I don't think there's a person that believes that my brother and I are, in any way sexual together. We're not. I never thought that people were going to take it in a weird way, and the only reason I'm sorry about it is because I'm sorry they missed what the real story was, which is a beautiful one about family and love.
I've never heard anyone call it that. I'm not going to.
No, come on.
I like it better with an IV. How long have you been here? 1 day, 2 days?
No,
now?
3 days.
Oh, is this your...
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
What's
But it's all right.
What's that?
It's all right.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same questions.
Yeah.
Is it?
What's it like?
The same. What's it like?
What's it like being here doing the press?
No. Oh, no.
Well, what's it like doing what?
No.
What's the question?
You must have the same questions over and over, like every.
Yeah, but that's all right. I mean, I like the movie, and that makes it a lot easier to answer questions, and maybe repeat them. But it's sort of, I think the worst case scenario is not liking the movie and sort of going, yeah, it's great.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Now, when did you come on board with this movie?
I don't know. I'm trying to think when we started shooting it. I had about 4 or 5 months before the film started. I met the director, so he was in London. Simon was in London meeting people. Went along, said hello, repped a bit, liked each other. Actually, what happened? I remember going in and what happened? It was to play the American. It was originally can't be an American part, but there was sort of question might be English. So I went in and I met Simon, and we did. I did the interview, and he had a headache. He was holding this bottle of water, and I thought, oh, here we go, right, fine. Not going to get very far with this one. And I did it, and whatever, and he went, thank you very much. And I was walking away, and it's a classic fucking situation. Classic situation, I'm sorry. I'm going to take that out.
Yeah, we could do that.
All right, and I was walking away, and the casting director screamed out the window, Daniel, come back!
To you?
To me.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, okay. And he went back and he said, I'm really sorry. I had a headache. I think, could you do it again and do it in an English accent? So I did it in an English accent. And he said, thank you very much. And 3 months later, a month or two later, I got the part.
Were you familiar with this? Where do you live? Do you live in LA?
No, I live in London.
You live in London. So, were you familiar with this game?
Yeah.
You were? Okay, how familiar? Did you play it yourself?
Way too much, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I know of the game, I haven't played it, but so you've played Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a fun thing to do in a movie based on the game you play.
Really,
you shouldn't say it because a lot of people that are watching will probably...
No, the joke is, but I'm happy to admit I played it and enjoyed it. That's the thing. I mean, it's sad because I sort of think, well, I wasted so many hours of my life, but then, hey, I got the job.
There's so many junkets. I didn't do my homework on the game as much as I should have. Is your character part of the game?
No, okay. It's not. I mean, really, there's only really one character in the game, which is Lara.
Right.
And it's, I mean, that's what sort of it's so individual about the game, really. It's a very strong character in a video game, which is strange. Maybe, it's not, and it's not Mario, it's, whatever, it's not that deal. Nothing wrong with Mario, okay. But
So, and that, I think it's just naturally sort of should have been a movie.
Well, considering that you know the game, how do you think because the movie, to me, when I was watching it, I thought, well, this looks like it's a level. This is almost like a game. Was it similar? Did it capture the game, or was it?
I think there's, I don't think there's, I think there's essence of the game in it, but then it's first and foremost just it's a movie, and I think it's I think it's incredibly stylish. It's a stylish game, but it's become an even more stylish movie.
And what about Angelina? Ooh, cut that one out. She looks like the character on the. She captures the essence of the character.
For sure. And you talked to her about it. She said, that we owe it to them, to sort of make it. But I think she's sort of taken it somewhere else. Even though sort of Lara Croft was voted, one of the sexiest women of the century, which is, whatever. But that's sort of gone now. This is the new order.
Okay, we've been wrapped. Congratulations, thank you.
I didn't want to do the role when I first heard about it. I thought it was the worst possible idea I'd ever heard, and I think I called just different people I was working with over and just thought we laughed about it for a really long time, and I was but then part of me was really flattered that they'd even consider it, because you'd have to be, but then you just think there's just no way, and then there was kind of like, okay, but I'm not getting in the shorts. There was definitely a period of time where that's how it was, and then there was. But I met Simon, who he talked about how he saw the film, and it was different than anything I thought about, and it was a different kind of. It was a warrior, and it was about learning skills, and he kind of challenged me that this would be this kind of training and this kind of commitment and these kind of abilities and this kind of, and were you up for it? And so it became.
He dared you.
He kind of dared me, and so I couldn't say no. When I first arrived in London, I was. I felt now, in looking back, I was gawky and uncomfortable and too skinny and kind of still laughing about the outfits and not sure about all the things I had to do and whether, and then through all the training, I started you accomplish these things and you get stronger and you start to get competitive and you start to want to beat your own best and you want to try more and more things and you want to push yourself harder. By the time we started rolling, I had picked up so many new skills. My body had changed and my mind had changed because I had a totally different focus and a sense of fun, and I was finally having fun back in my life in a different kind of way. So yeah. By the time we had to do it, and I stepped out, and still a little unsure about the shorts, but yeah, I got used to them. Iceland was I think there were more sheep in Iceland than people. Where we were in Hoffen, anyway. We were on a glacier the size of Wales, and it's an amazing thing. It's hard not to feel like you are these people. It was hard not to feel like Lara Croft when I had guns strapped to me. I'm dog sledding. I'm on a glacier, and it was magnificent. And yet you look down, and every once in a while the dogs would be a little uncomfortable in an area because you realize there was a crack that went down a mile, and they just didn't want to go over it. There was also the reality of what has happened in this country, what happened during the war, what happened with Pol Pot, many things that I didn't know, that I feel I should have known in my life and was uncomfortable that I didn't. But I didn't understand I didn't understand when I saw a lot of kids walking around who were amputated, who had been hit with landmines, and didn't understand why that was still happening. And we went to certain areas. We went to film in the waterfall. We couldn't go past a certain radius because there were only a certain area was cleared with landmines. And you can't believe that's still happening in the world. And that hasn't been banned, the use of those kind of things. And then you really hear about how many of these people were killed and how much happened. And so you'd think with all of that also that you'd meet these people and they'd have a certain coldness or a certain a distance. Certainly they've been through certain things we couldn't possibly understand and that we might get that feeling from them. And instead we met them and they were so generous and loving and open and taught us all a big lesson about life.
We're both looking to unite the two halves of this sort of mystical triangle that will give its possessor kind of godlike powers. And they're hidden. They're very difficult to find because they're hidden at very remote parts of the universe, but also they're hidden in time. You need to wait for an eclipse, which only comes around every sort of 5,000 years, to unite it at the appropriate moment. So it's a very tricky quest, and we both are pursuing it for our own ends. Her, because she is sort of, she's rediscovering her father. She didn't know her mother, and she lost her father at a tender age. And it was his quest as well, and she's doing it for him. And I'm doing it just to be even more wealthy and be even more enormously powerful, so I can be even nastier to the human race than I am. The skill that I have to possess more than that is this sword fighting skill and weaponry, small knife stuff. And luckily and coincidentally, it tied into a particular obsession of mine anyway. I love all that. When I was at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art as a student, that's what I pursued. Everyone could do a bit of ballet or a bit of singing, extracurricular activity, and that was mine, to play with swords. So we went through small swords, rapier and dagger and broadsword and stuff. And I loved it. So it was more familiar than it might have been. But this was a samurai sword that I had to work with in one particular sequence, and then knife spinning, which I just obsessively used to fiddle with all the time through takes and stuff. And we had a knife that was specially designed for me and for my hands. So Cambodia is going through this sea change, I think, you know, culturally and politically. It's become stable after decades of the most terrible fighting. And it was a sign of the time that we were invited back. You know, the first film crew for 38 years, I think Lord Jim was the last film that was made there. And because of the stability, you know, and even though there, you know, certain precautions had to be taken because the place is covered in these landmines and stuff. You know, it's really tragic, the state of the country. We had sort of minesweepers going in, clearing for the big vehicles coming in and stuff. But it's, you know, there's an incredible optimism in the air now, and a beautiful serenity to the people who are incredibly welcoming to us. And you're very wary, you know, as filmmakers coming in. You don't want to kind of goose step over other people's cultures and come in, hey, we got, you know. And so I think we were cautious of that and wanted them to approve of what we were doing. And I think Cambodia particularly, and curiously it kind of ties in with a spiritual enlightenment that Lara gleans from Cambodia itself. We as a group filming there were really touched by the experience in Cambodia.
Bryce is a sort of technical guru, and he can sort of make anything pretty much, and he's Lara's sort of eyes and ears in the field, and sort of communications man, and he's also Lara's friend and confidant. Yeah. It's a very dangerous environment, you know, because I mean, you really you can't sort of play around there, because you know, if you fall in that water or anything, you're dead in a couple of seconds, and there's mile deep crevices everywhere, and you know, I got altitude sickness one day, and you know, you start talking to yourself and things like that. I mean, you know, people, it's like any extreme weather conditions, the desert or ice is very dangerous to film in, but I'm really glad we went there as opposed to doing sort of green screen stuff, because you know, you can't fake that sense of reality and richness that you get from nature.
I think it was the orrery scene at the end, although it doesn't necessarily look the most difficult, because it was a full-size physical set with huge mechanical arms going around. It was an incredibly dangerous set, and we had to make sure that everyone was standing in the right spot at the right time, and everything was carefully measured, because when those arms come around, they weigh 3 tons each, and if you're in the wrong place, you can get cut in half by them. So that was the most technically difficult, but I think visually the most impressive is the Cambodian tomb with the battle with the stone monkeys, which again was a good old-fashioned fight scene, but the characters weren't there, so I had to acted out for the actors, really, so that they could understand who was going to be where and what was attacking them and how big they were. And then I had to imagine, when I was framing the shots, how many stone monkeys are running around in the background and that kind of thing. So that's quite difficult to choreograph, because half the actors aren't there. I wanted to do something to show what Lara Croft did to relax before she went to bed, and she's not going to do yoga or watch TV like a lot of people. She's going to do something more elaborate, and so I came up with this bungee ballet routine. And again, I wanted to not just have it in there for its own sake. I then led it into an action scene and used her bungees within the action scene. And she can't, like some characters in films, actually run up walls herself. She has to obey the laws of nature. So it was a good excuse to get her to be able to run around on walls. But there's a reason why, because she's got bungee cords. I took particular interest in the soundtrack on this one because it's the type of music I really like. And I talked to the bands, some of the bands that were on it, and people like Fatboy Slim I've always been a really big fan of, and Norman Cook came in and I showed him sequences out of the film, and he chose one that he wanted to write to, and coincidentally he'd just done a track that had the word Illuminati in it, and by sheer coincidence it was in my story as well, and so we combined the two, and I love that track. But I love all the tracks on the album. It's one of the few film score tracks or film source tracks that I'll play in the car all the time. It's because it's totally my kind of music.
Now at Taco Bell, experience the excitement of the Tomb Raider movie when you play the Tomb Raider Instant Win game. Win instantly or match pictures on game piece triangles and win. The grand prize, you and 3 friends take a private jet on an exotic archaeological adventure, or win $1 million or one of millions of other great prizes.
Todd, I won!
Tomb Raider. See it in theaters. Play it at the Bell.
The film was released on June 15th, 2001, to generally negative reviews from critics. Although Jolie was praised for her performance, it grossed $275 million worldwide, making it one of the highest-grossing video game adaptations.
Angelina Jolie brings a cyberspace action goddess to the big screen in Lara Croft Tomb Raider, one of this week's new movies. I'm Roger Ebert.
And I'm Richard Roper. With her big guns and her skin-tight outfits, Angelina Jolie is well equipped to play Sex Pistol Lara Croft, but she's curiously sedate in this humorless and needlessly complicated adventure. Now, like Batman, Lara Croft is a wealthy blue-blood orphan whose loyal manservant and faithful sidekick help her in her sideline as a thrill-seeking crusader. But as played by Jolie, Lara isn't nearly as interesting as Bruce Wayne's alter ego. She's just really limber. Now, those gunmen are in search of a treasure thingy that, combined with 2 other treasure thingies, will unlock the mysteries of time. But the contraption works only once every 5,000 years when the planets are perfectly aligned. In that scene, Lara was on her way to the Tomb of the Dancing Light in Cambodia. Later, she'll visit Siberia's Temple of 10,000 Shadows, though it seemed to me she was just going on a studio tour of the sets from The Mummy Returns. Lara Croft Tomb Raider started as an interactive video game, and it's too bad it's not an interactive movie, as I would have appreciated having the chance to use a fast-forward button or maybe even a delete key. Instead, I had to just sit there and take it as I was pummeled with pointless action scenes, driven to distraction by the convoluted storyline, and knocked senseless by the deadpan performances. Didn't these people know they were making a silly action romp? They're all as serious as if they were playing a chess match with death. The only laughs here are unintentional, as when a multi-armed Hindu statue comes to life and just sort of clomps after Lara. I've seen more convincing monsters constructed from Legos.
I like this movie.
You did not
yes,
like
it
this
is
movie.
my job.
You are not recommending this movie. You're not telling me.
I'm talking now. It is my job as an experienced movie critic to be able to tell good trash from bad trash.
Okay.
There is a difference between this movie and The Mummy Returns. This is a much better movie than The Mummy Returns. It was entertaining to me on a visual level. I especially loved all of the set pieces, including that model of the globe at the end where she's climbing around on the different kinds of arms. And I love the look of that movie. I love the art design of the movie, the set decoration of the movie, the special effects of the movie. I love the whole idea that she was kind of deadpan in the face of these extraordinary events that would have had any other actress giggling. I mean, it's a monumentally goofy film, and I liked it, and I embraced it on that level.
Are we still talking about Lara Croft?
Yes,
Tomb
that's the
Raider?
one.
Okay,
That's
I just
the
want to
very
make
one.
sure here
Yes,
because
that's the very one,
I thought,
yes.
if anything, it looked even worse than The Mummy Returns. The sets were even more artificial looking,
But
and all
that's
this,
okay.
all this hocus pocus
all
mumbo
sets-
jumbo about stopping time had no end to it.
All sets are artificial by definition. The more artificial, the better. The weirder,
Really?
the better. I mean, I'm not looking for realism when I go to Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I'm looking for gargantuan, implausible, peculiar weirdness.
So when she's jumping around on these bungee cords
Yeah.
and doing battle
That was
with,
a great
with
scene.
robots that
Oh,
exist
the
for no
bungee-
reason
yeah.
whatsoever, or when these intruders come in and all they really had to do was just get to this one thing, but they had these pointless action scenes set to a rock and roll soundtrack. You're defending all that, right? I want to get that
I am.
straight.
I defended
Okay.
it, and I liked it, and I was grinning all the way through it.
Wow, I must have gone to a different refreshment stand than you did when we saw this
There was
movie.
no refreshment stand when we saw this movie.
Okay.
Wherever she goes,
Power source identified.
whatever she does,
Power source identified.
her adventures are powered by Ericsson.
Power source identified.
Follow in Lara's footsteps to win an adventure trip to Southeast Asia and see Tomb Raider in theaters this summer.
We are running out of time. And if we fail, we must wait another 5,000 years.
Well, I don't know about you, but that's more time than I'm prepared to commit to this enterprise.
It's an ancient clock. It was hidden in a secret room. It glows, but it's getting brighter, like it's counting down to something.
The future is yours now, Lara. You're the only one with the strength to destroy the power of the light.
We can be partners.
You might try to kill me.
I'm not going to kill you.
I said you'd try.
She's all action. And she means business.
Oh my God.
Academy Award winner Angelina Jolie
Don't start.
is Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. And on November 13th, she's all yours.
Yes, that's right.
On DVD. With exceptional picture and sound quality, this widescreen special collector's edition of the mega hit Tomb Raider includes over 3 hours of never-before-seen extras. 5 exclusive documentaries take you on extraordinary journeys behind the scenes, including Digging into Tomb Raider. Go deep into the making of this remarkable motion picture with Angelina Jolie, Jon Voight, and director Simon West.
Yeah, go ahead, throw it at me.
Plus, Crafting Lara Croft will take you up close and personal for Angelina's grueling training regimen.
I knew that I was going to have to put Angie through some pretty rigorous training because there were so many different disciplines that she was going to have to learn.
And the stunts of Tomb Raider dives head-on into the action-packed stunts and eye-popping special effects.
All right, is everybody ready?
Yes.
Camera, 2, 1, go!
Plus, the visual effects of Tomb Raider will reveal the secrets of 8 key action sequences. And ask yourself, are you game? In a fascinating look at the global phenomenon that is Tomb Raider, featuring exclusive interviews with Lara Croft's creators and Angelina Jolie. And catch all the thrills with 4 deleted scenes, a director's commentary from Simon West, and a U2 music video, Elevation. Jump into 3 levels of the Tomb Raider Chronicles gameplay, plus loads of additional DVD-ROM features, including the Tomb Raider Experience Online, where you can interact with the extended iPix gallery, featuring a fabulous tour of Lara Croft's mansion.
Beautiful, smashing.
Available November 13th. Angelina Jolie is Lara Croft. Tomb Raider Special Collector's Edition DVD.
Lara Croft Tomb Raider was released on DVD and VHS on November 13th, 2001.